water if you want to have a little sweetness to it because it's coming directly from the fruit. You just got to chop it up and throw it in there. So you'll get the other things that travel inside the skin and the peel of the fruit with it. Because when you're eating sugar, the safest way to eat it is in its natural form. Because then it travels with everything that you need to process it better. But even with that, my mamas who just love fruit, they really can't overdo it in fruit. I've seen fruit make the scale go up and up and up because they call out 10 servings of fruit in a day. They barely had any food. They just had carbohydrates all day. So I love that it was raw, but we had like way too much of it. That wasn't good at all. So these are the basic principles to a healthy diet. If we could just nail these down, you're pretty much in good shape. There's a lot more, but I find that if you're consuming the potassium and magnesium pretty much ride together. If you're consuming the protein, there's going to be some zinc riding with it. So if you're doing the C, you'll probably have a little zinc and copper riding with it. So a lot of things kind of travel together in the food. So if you hit these major ones, you'll get the little smaller micronutrients that you need to be sure that you're getting. Christine, how I turn the page?
Click it.
Click what?
Don't tap. Click.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm not good with technology.
That's all right.
Okay, so I usually tell the mamas that if we can eat some raw vegetables, we'll keep down inflammation and keep our micronutrients on par. So I encourage them just if you could get a raw salad in every day because really the leafy greens have all the great stuff in them. So I just tell them try to incorporate that in every day. And then when you get to a spot where you're like, I just cannot eat a salad today, try to do some raw.
What are the best greens, Meka?
The best greens are going to be your kale, your Swiss chard. Your collard greens are actually pretty good. They have to be cooked though. You can't eat them raw.
What about spinach?
Spinach is okay. It's high in iron, but it doesn't have the other stuff in it. So I wouldn't call it. Kale is really your superfood. So we all talk about superfoods. Superfoods have a lot of stuff in it. So kale is really your superfood. And Swiss chard does a good follow-up to kale. But spinach is good. A lot of people like to juice with it. But I find that they still get into trouble. And it's like pulling teeth to get them to put kale in that juice in that smoothie instead of that spinach.
I can't eat kale raw, but I can put it in a smoothie.
Yes, put it in the smoothie. It can be really hard to get people to make that one little change. Because they're like, I can't taste the spinach, but I can kind of taste the kale in here. And then a good raw kale salad is good if you know how to make one. Have you had one with avocado on it? So it does have to be, because kale can be really dry and really crunchy. But if you take some avocados, if you squeeze lemon juice all over your kale and a little olive oil and put a little salt and let it sit, come back in an hour and take some fresh avocados and just with your hand put it all over the leaves, you'll feel them go soft in your hands. And then put a little more kosher salt and chop up like some red peppers, some yellow peppers, some red onions. You'll eat it. You'll eat it that day, the next day, and you'll be like, oh, this is not bad at all. But the way it's sold in the store, no, probably not. But you can make it better. It can be better. I always tell people now, if you're doing the broccoli, which also has a lot of great stuff, and it's a cruciferous, that sometimes in pregnancy that can really cause a lot of gas. The only thing you have to do to be able to process your broccoli is to steam it. Don't boil it down and kill everything. Just steam it a little bit, so it still has a little crunch to it, but it's a lot softer, and then it won't give you gas. You won't get a drop of gas from it if you do that. And then all of your lentils are really great for protein. So for my vegans and vegetarians or people who aren't big meat eaters, the black bean, the black-eyed pea, which is big in your diet, very high in protein. Very high in protein. You get some good iron out of that. The pinto bean. Not so sure about the Great White Northern, they would have to check the package on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the pinto, definitely the kidney bean, and definitely your black eyed pea and your black bean. All great sources. If you have a history of blood pressure issues, so like your parents have a problem with blood pressure, or you've had that before with another pregnancy, CoQ10 and omega-3 is your friend. And they actually, Norwegian actually sells this together.
Oh.
Yeah, where they do a split dosage in it. And those two will keep the blood pressure down. I recommend that for anybody who's not even pregnant. If there's a blood pressure history in the family, you tell anybody that. A man, a woman, get the CoQ10 and the omega-3, and that'll do the trick. The potassium, of course, we talked about before, really, really helps with the blood pressure. And I tell people, think about if you know about the cell or not. So the potassium is flowing in and out of the cell. The pump that controls that is your ATP pump. If you don't have enough potassium, these pumps are not functioning properly. They don't run on air if we're not eating. That's why we need so much. It's because every cell has an ATP pump. So if every cell in your body has